So let me ask you, do you like Trailblazer DX more or Dreamforce?
That's a good question.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we are back with the holiday special. Shiva and I have been working to bring you all things MuleSoft. If you're yet to subscribe to our channel, please make sure to do so to catch up on the latest MuleSoft content and much more. Our guests today are some amazing MuleSoft ambassadors and MuleSoft mentors. They are not only real techies, but also musicians and party lovers. Please welcome Jonathan and Edgar on the podcast today.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining. We have Edgar as well as Jonathan with us. So, Edgar, would you like to introduce yourself to the
Yeah,
audience?
absolutely. Of course. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting us here to speak. Really happy to do that. And yeah, my name is Edgar Moran. I'm a MuleSoft ambassador and also software engineer. Currently, I'm working at Cisco Meraki. And I've been working with MuleSoft probably for the last 5 years. And priorly of that, I had like 11, 12 years of experience on the Salesforce ecosystem. So I know both the platforms kind of well, if not well, obviously. But yeah, really happy to be on the MuleSoft side at this point. I really enjoy to work on integration projects. And yeah, definitely happy to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. Jonathan, you're up next.
Sure, absolutely. So, yeah, I guess a very, very different background, I guess, to Edgar. I'm Jonathan. I'm from Third Republic. I've led our MuleSoft hiring practice for 5 years now, sort of in the MuleSoft ecosystem. I'm also MuleSoft mentor and now the community lead for New York City as well. And everything we've always done, albeit a sort of recruitment staffing firm, has always been on the community-led side of things. So that's been it for me, sort of evangelizing that community, that growth, people supporting what they're doing in their in their own careers, supporting other people's careers and growth as well, and bringing all of that together. So yeah, look, really happy to join you guys. I know we met up at Dreamforce, and yeah, really happy to be here.
Amazing. I have a question for both of you. So today we have it is a holiday special, and we have some sort of avatars going on. Who are you all, and why did you choose that?
I'll go. Okay. Yeah, I guess I assume it's meant to be the Mask of Zorro. There were two options I was looking through earlier. It was this or a Cyclops, and I think it was like a Cyclops thing. And to be honest, the Cyclops completely covered half the screen, so there would have been nothing else going on. Obviously, missed your guys' lovely logo as well. So the Zorro was the other option. It's a little bit more sort of minimalist. So yeah, we went with that one.
Looking great.
Nice. Well, on my side is like always wanted to have a mustard, so I can't grow one, so I'll have this one just right here. It actually looks nice.
That's so funny. It suits you.
Well,
It suits.
Yeah, definitely it does. For me, I guess I just wanted to be an angel. That's why I chose this filter, which is hard, but still, yeah. It's me. What about you?
This is the only one which did not cover more than half my face, and
Right.
it's sort of giving Christmas, but we'll make do.
Awesome.
So you guys have any real plans for Halloween?
I don't at the minute. This is my first Halloween in the US, right? And it's huge out here compared to like back in the UK. Everyone I speak to says, whatever day Halloween falls on in the US, it's a big party celebration. Like it doesn't matter whether it's the weekend or a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Whereas in the UK, you maybe get the Friday before, or that's it, and actual Halloween, nothing happens. So I'm interested to see what happens. Also, I'm in New York, I'm in Brooklyn right now, and everybody's houses are decorated. There's so many, everything going on. I've heard there's loads of parades that happen. So
Right.
yeah, no plans as of yet, but really excited to see what happens.
Ooh,
Great.
yeah.
I've been in a few with my kids now, so I'm not really into much Halloween stuff, honestly, but it's nice, right? So the last couple of years, we've been taking the kids just go around in the houses and everything. It's really a whole experience, right? There's people like put heart on the actual decorations and stuff.
Right.
Last year, I remember there was this guy wearing some kind of what kind of mortar or something monster thing. It was scaring everyone, so it was really nice. Just people laughing and just getting candy. I think it's a shame that the kids, whenever they get the candy, us as parents has to take it away, right? So you'll see
Yeah.
after Halloween, you'll see my place here with a bucket of just chocolates or whatever. I'm just taking them from them. So that's what I like actually of this holiday. But it's fun. You see, as Jonathan mentioned, I think in New York gets like a lot of this. There's a parade. There's a bunch of people just dressed up, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. So and you kind of get a sense of being a child again, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
So I like that too.
I hope you're not eating all the candies, Edgar.
Well, dentist is gonna just have a lot of fun with me then.
Right, definitely.
He's doing it in the name of goodwill.
That's true.
I remember for me, the company I was working for before, we used to decorate pumpkins, which was very cool. And we used to keep them, in our office. I guess Smith was with me during that time. Like we were working for the same company, which was pretty neat. Yeah, that was cool.
For me, it's
Yeah.
been a while since I've dressed up. I work from home now. I'm sad. I don't have
Is
kids.
that why you suggested dressing up for today, just so that
Yes,
you could do
yes.
it again? That
So I just feel it. I wanted to feel all of it. I mean, it's been a while.
Right.
That was great. So now let's jump right into it. I want to know how we all met at Dreamforce for the first time. How was all of your experience? Was it your first Dreamforce like Shubham and I?
it was my second Dreamforce. And it was actually, do you know what? It was really interesting to me because obviously, so my first Dreamforce was last year, and that was the first Dreamforce post-pandemic. So it was kind of a new experience for me last year, but I guess kind of a new experience for everybody in kind of that new how things were going to work kind of thing. Um, so that was eye-opening. And then this year I thought I knew what to expect and I thought I knew what I was walking into. And I know that we had a roundtable pre-Dreamforce, right, with Edgar was on it and some other guys, and it was their first Dreamforce, coming up. And we said, look, whatever expectations you've got, whatever agenda you've got going into it, day one, it's going out the window. Because as soon as you
Right.
walk into it, it's crazy. It's got its own kind of almost like its own time zone, its own sort of ecosystem within it. Um, but it was brilliant, and I think it was so much more, because people were kind of adjusted to it now. It was more open. I felt like last year it was kind of people getting back to normality kind of thing, whereas this year it was very much, people knew what to do, people knew what they were expecting. It was obviously very busy, but it was really interesting to hear what had been happening over the last year for me, and a lot of what people were talking about. And there's been so many new releases and updates and that in the last 12 months, that just being in that space with everybody else that wants to hear about it at the same time is doing that. So yeah, I loved it. It's not long enough, I guess. I know, it feels like it's too long when you're there because it's so packed, you're so tired when you
Right.
come out of it, you're exhausted. But honestly, it could probably go on for a few more days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I don't
I
know
think
about
it
that.
can.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
when you're there, it's too much, but then afterwards, it's like it could have been longer. I think.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of miss it. Yeah. Like after
Well,
4 days. Yeah.
I guess you miss it, but I think one of the things is there's so much crammed into that 3 days that you could extend it because if you split, there's so much crammed in. I think you miss things without meaning to, because there's so much going on back to back, or you get in a conversation with somebody for 30 45 minutes and you've missed what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much going on that you kind of cram, I guess, 6 days worth of stuff into 3 days. So you're constantly going from A to B to get there.
True.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So from my side, I feel like I mean it wasn't the first Dreamforce. I've been attending like 4 or 5 now. It's been many of them. Since I started working on, I mean, with Salesforce platform probably since 2008, and I don't know how many Dreamforce has been since then. Too many. I haven't attended all of them, right? But I think this one felt kind of special, to be honest, because first of all, after pandemic, I wasn't able to do a Dreamforce again. This is the first one after pandemic, and I feel like people actually was super excited to attend, and for some reason many of us were able to make it to San Francisco, and that was really nice because I feel like for the first time we kind of in the community know each other because the posts, the videos, and so on, but no in person, right? So it didn't feel like weird to get it to know each other in person because it's like we already been there before, right? Um, and again, this is the first time there, and I felt like there was a lot of things going on. Everything was about AI, but in my personal feeling is like there was more than that too, right? And a lot of people were excited for the other topics as well. Uh, and I really like the experience of being close to the community booth where we were just talking with other customers and things like that, right? So we kind of are putting our part, just continuing empowering people to use their platform, how to use it. And it's not trying to sell a product, it's more like explaining our own experiences, right? So I feel like that was a good thing. And suddenly I felt like it was a good one too, because a lot of people that I don't even know or met before, they were reaching out, like, hey, because of the name, right? And then they recognize you, and that feels like nice, right? Like, oh wow,
Right.
it's actually people seeing what I'm doing and so on. So I feel like the experience has been great. Content was great, and I don't know if I agree on it should be longer. I probably it should be longer if we keep going with interesting topics or POCs, because otherwise it feels more like someone trying to sell you something, right? Which is kind of part of it is that in Dreamforce, right? But I feel like I'm seeing everything more on the engineer or developer side, where on Moscone West you are just attached to that building almost all the time because there's always new something new, right? Like you have the hackathon, you have these well, no hackathons, right? The mini hacks. You have all these little sessions where you can just actually see how people build something there, right, in the platform. So I really like that. But in the end, I had a different experience this time, so I had to split in many pieces and just spend time with every single person, which was really, really nice.
So let me ask you, do you like Trailblazer DX more or Dreamforce?
That's a good question. And let me just let me tell you what to get into Dreamforce is a little bit harder for some people because obviously not too many had a chance to go that far, right? So people are coming from even other countries or just very far away, right? Is kind of harder to make it. If you do a TDX, it's more local, so you are able to actually make it. And the good thing about it is like we as local we know each other kind of already in person, so it's also nice. You see them there, and I feel more personal experience too. I say more personal experience because you are focusing on some specific things, right? Even though it's still the same, right? Like it's still MuleSoft for Salesforce technologies. It feels more personal, and in Dreamforce you get lost. There's like you are a tiny piece of a grain of sand just in the whole world of people that is doing development, sales, and I don't know, whatever these other things are happening, right? But you are just so tiny there. In TDX, you feel more like doing a presence or whatever you are doing there. So yeah.
Just to clarify, I mean, I don't mean that Dreamforce should just be longer. I just mean if it was longer, you wouldn't miss out. Like there's so much going on over the 3 days. Like after the 3 days, I was exhausted, like everybody. But I just feel if there's so much going on that if it was another day or another couple of days, there's so much going on that if you spread that out, you could attend so many other sessions, learn so many other things. You're not, because there's a lot of things that overlap, right, as well, because of the time frames. So if you go to see one thing, you miss another, and that, you know, that side of things. So not just to make it longer, but if it was longer, you could kind of, you know, work your schedule to be able to see everything that
Definitely.
you want to see. A bit like making
Yeah,
your
that
holiday a
makes
week
sense.
longer, right? You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would always say Dreamforce for me was chaos, but it was an organized chaos. So much stuff happening, but in an organized way. And I was lucky. It was my first Dreamforce, and it was a great experience for me to meet you guys and everyone in the MuleSoft community and being part of that, community. It means a lot to me. So I was happy. So no complaints. What about you, Smith?
Echoing on all of your points, I think Jonathan said this could be longer in terms of spreading out sessions more, because there were so many sessions that I missed because of the conversations. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to, talk to all the community people, know them, because as we are all seen each other, we'd all known each other, but it was the first time for us, at least for me, that we were there and we were having fun. We were getting to know each other beyond the screen. And post pandemic, it's so important that feeling all that personal touch. It's extravagant luxury for me personally. And then I was exhausted pretty much, but I was also enjoying a lot because I loved meeting new people, and that was like I was. It seemed like I was on steroids. I was just jumping everywhere, and yeah. But Dreamforce gave me maybe I think COVID, but I
Oh,
don't have any
really?
complaints. Yeah, yeah, but I don't have any complaints.
Cool, cool. Yeah, talking about Dreamforce, guys, I wanted to know what were some of the sessions that stood out to you all. Like, Edgar, if you want to start, were there any specific sessions that you really enjoyed?
I think there was a couple that I really liked, and again I was looking, even though I was looking for something not too AI, because I see like we can see just beyond that, beyond. Still, there was a couple interesting ones. So one of them was like the Copilot in Salesforce, right? Like how you can use Copilot, and there was a guy doing prompts for like building Apex code just on the fly. We've seen that, but then for some reason I saw that session. It had something more sophisticated because this guy was building XML files on the fly, right? Like I build and create sections and doing things. And then I'm always like on the side of when I'm seeing something interesting, it's like I'm trying to think about how we can use it for something MuleSoft related in this case, right? And I said like, okay, this guy is building XML, so maybe I can ask him to build an actual flow and connect something. I mean, right now we have the endpoint code builder, for example, and I say we can probably attach something similar to code builder and make something easier. But then that is the first thought, but then it comes deeper into but we are gonna face these issues. We're gonna start having more things, right? So that was one of the main ones that I liked because it was like super on the fly. It was super dynamic, and the prompts were clear, super simple, and it was building things really sophisticated. And there was another one related to mobile applications that I liked also, and it was more like a how to build mobile applications and so on. But again, they'll inject a little bit of AI intelligence and say, okay, you can build this. But also, if you ask Copilot or you ask maybe this prompt
Mhm.
or ask create this prompt, it's gonna build something. I feel those were pretty interesting ones, and I like a lot of the women who Mule actually because I was there and it was really empowering to see how uh, I mean, again, people that I met just online, right? I never spoke with them. I saw them in person, and how the experiences that they shared, that was amazing. It's like you are watching a movie, right? And it's like you getting super entertaining. Like, wow, they did this, and it's empowering too. And because I think that is super powerful for other people that are actually there were their first Dreamforce or the first interaction they have with the platform. I feel like they feel more. Comfortable and hearing these experiences and say, okay, maybe it's not that hard. I just need to do my first step and just go from there, right? So I like that one too. but yeah, I think mostly that. But overall, I think everything was interesting. I did couple sessions myself. One of them I like it just because it was an interaction with WhatsApp, so it was nice too. But then again, pretty good content. But this one was the ones that I liked the most, I guess.
Perfect. Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, I think I guess probably. I mean, yeah, pretty similar to Edgar, I guess. I did like a lot of the AI sessions, and one of the main reasons why is because so back in I think mid-June time, myself, Edgar, and so we went to the AI launch day in New York that obviously Mark Benioff led, and that was their launch of Salesforce AI, like all their stuff, and I think we all came, a number of us came out of that from the MuleSoft side, that it had all been launched, but there wasn't a load of content around how AI was going to be used with MuleSoft, on that side, and we spoke about it afterwards, and I think that a lot of probably not, it was planned anyway, but a lot of the sessions at Dreamforce addressed how AI is going to be used with MuleSoft, what the plans are, how it's going to incorporate. So I think having seen the launch of the Salesforce AI, which was really interesting in the first place, but then being followed up with how it works with MuleSoft, that was very interesting. A lot of those sessions really stood out for me. I did like, and again, like we spoke with myself, Edgar, and some others spoke about this before, that Dreamforce isn't just about AI, that there were a number of other sessions that, people that aren't interested in AI, but are doing different things with the platforms, MuleSoft, Salesforce, that want to know about Code Builder and, API Exchange, all of that, they want to know those things. There are some great sessions on that. I don't know if it was the same, I think maybe the same session that Edgar was talking about, but the Women Who Mule one, which was focused around, for me especially, career development, career growth, sort of leveraging the community to do that, I thought was a great session. I know it's the kind of session that myself and sort of Sabrina Hockett had spoken about before, like how the community can be, how people can develop themselves. And I think there was a number of sessions in there that showed there's new skill sets coming within Salesforce, within MuleSoft, across the whole ecosystem, with the new releases, new skill sets, people that can develop their careers in different ways based off of what's being released. I thought from a developer architect, from a tech point of view, there was some really good content in those sessions.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree with you. So when you spoke about the sessions which particularly revolved around personal development and how you can grow as in a community, what stood out to you? I think both of you said that. And what stood out to both of you? Because for me personally, it seemed like the Women Who Mule session, even I attended, and I, as an advocate for Women Who Mule, it seemed very relevant in how we can, inspire more people to take on Mule, not be afraid to speak, and how you can align your personal development along with your goals. So, what stood out to both of you?
It's for me. It's almost exactly that. Is me, because it's that, but it's also the inclusivity of it. It's people getting past that, because before you get to that stage, it's that first barrier of, I can speak here, I can be involved here, I can attend these events.
Yeah.
But once you broke that, getting there and doing it is great, because there are some people. We ran a meetup back in July time with Catherine from it's Organo now, big Compass, and she provided live demos on RPA and Composer and that, and she said to me after, she'd recently picked up RPA, and I wouldn't necessarily expect that somebody that has just picked up a platform in the part of a platform in the few weeks, months beforehand, would then stand in front of a room full of people and present a live demo of it. But the nature of the community, the meetups to go and do that, the inclusivity of it, of there not being that sort of barrier to entry to come and do that, meant you could go and present that, and it was fantastic. It was a great presentation that everybody wanted to see, and again, sort of going back to when I first came into MuleSoft, that was one of the huge things for me, was that people wanted to help people grow, and that whole talk of the, the women who MuleSide and just getting people into it. You break down that first barrier of you can, because people want to hear it. The people that have got 10 years experience want to hear from the people who have only got 6 months experience, because they're the people that have just picked it up. They've just started using it. What's changed since I used it? What are people picking up now when they first come into it? And in turn, those people are learning from those people that have got 10 plus years.
Right.
It does work both ways, and it's the inclusivity of it that really is, I think, the special thing for me.
Right. No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. No, and I echo the same thing, honestly. Yeah, in the end, I think it's opening opportunities. I feel like these kind of things, these talks in terms of the community, that's what this community is about, right? Pretty much, it's like there's no who knows more. It's like we know we have already niche basically, right? We know what we are best at, right? Like for example, if someone is talk to me and I know I can explain something about Salesforce, for example, right? And there's pieces of MuleSoft that I don't know, right? There's someone that actually knows, and that's part of the community. So we are complementing pretty much our knowledge with other people, and that's how this is built. And now new people that is starting on this journey, like I said, like maybe this is the first time that you are having an approach with the platform, then hearing people doing this and now how we are sharing more content as well, right? Like we used to just have the forum and it wasn't enough. We are trying to reach people, and now community started to grow too, right? So now the community is just sharing blog posts, they are sharing videos. Is we are communicating what we know. We are not keeping that knowledge, which sometimes happens, right? Like you build something incredible in your company or in your integrations, but then you feel a little bit jealous or share it, right? Sometimes like why do I have to share it if it really was really hard for me? It has to be hard for someone else. I think that mentality shouldn't be like that. And instead of that, we're starting just sharing, and we try to make this easier. And that's what people is what is attracted, why is attracted to the community, and specifically the MuleSoft one, because I feel we have the Salesforce one is bigger. They also share in everything, but for some reason I feel like the MuleSoft one is in another level. It's like we know each other, we're friends, we know that we can ask us questions, and if you jump into Slack or you are asking a question, you know someone is gonna get back to you in the end. So that's the reliability of this community. Just someone is gonna be there for help. And there's no attachments, let's say, right? So pretty much you are there, you know someone's gonna help, and that's what it's about. I feel like, but yeah, definitely it's a good start, and people that is interested and hasn't had the chance to actually join to a community or speak with someone from the community, they will see that it's so easy to get in, get involved, and just get as much knowledge and content as you need, right? So yeah.
I think just
yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just like to sort of add to and echo what Edgar says there, and I think it's the huge thing with the MuleSoft community, right? And again, opposed, as you say, the Salesforce community, and their user groups are so much bigger. It's a huge platform, right? There are hundreds of thousands of people using it, and with the MuleSoft community as it is, and like you say, people are asking questions about projects and getting involved on that, and tech-wise and what they're doing, is that you still have the case where Edgar may be the only MuleSoft developer at Cisco Meraki. So who else is he talking to about MuleSoft? There's no one else within Cisco Meraki that he's talking to about what they're developing, what they're building, about projects. If he faces an issue, who's he talking to? He comes to a meetup, he's within the community, he's then talking to, Isme is working at Simplest. They're delivering the same project. They can then clear, oh, actually, we face this problem and this is how we solved it. And there are so many people that may be the only internal, the one person at their business. So who else are they talking to? Without that community, you don't have that outreach. You don't have that kind of sounding board. You don't have that, did you do this? Because this is how we did it. Oh, well, this is how we did it. And this worked or this didn't work. And again, just that knowledge sharing between everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you. So maybe I can just sum it up as we are just different parts of the jigsaw puzzle. We're just completing each other in the sense. And then Shubham and we spoke about at Dreamforce about how was our journey with MuleSoft community, how we became what we became, how did we get to stand in front of those many people to share our experience. So Shubham, I wanted to just take this forward and then ask our guests how has been their journey with MuleSoft Community.
Yeah, definitely. Edgar, would you like to start? How did you get involved with MuleSoft? How did you start?
Yeah.
And yeah, just tell us about everything, definitely.
Uh, no, absolutely. It's kind of funny because, as I mentioned, I started as a Salesforce developer, right? And I was on that ecosystem for almost 12 years. So I used to work for consultancies in Mexico, and then I moved
Mm,
here to New York, and I started just continuing with Salesforce, right? And I remember specifically on when I started working in New York, this company was using Salesforce, obviously, and I started using MuleSoft. And then
right.
MuleSoft was on the version 3.8 or something like that. So it was like even not that old, but then I started just there. There was a guy that was creating projects and everything and creating integrations, right? So I was building something on the Salesforce side, REST
Mhm.
APIs and so on, and he was building APIs in MuleSoft, and then like he asked me, "Hey, do you want to start learning? I can give you some insights and everything." I wasn't too interested, to be honest, but then I said, "Okay, let's take it." And I saw how easy it was to create integrations. At that time, there was no data weave. It was a data mapper component, which was magic at that time, right? Like, wow, this you can create something pretty fast. And
Which mule
and
was it,
suddenly,
Edgar? Sorry, which
three
mule
three
was
point
it? Was it? Sorry, go
it
ahead.
was runtime 3.8
Okay,
3.8. So
okay.
no, 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 that's not true. It's 3.4 something. I don't remember. It was really old. And um this person left the company and nobody else knew MuleSoft. So they asked me if I wanted to start building integrations, and they had this NetSuite and Zuora financial systems.
Right.
I didn't know anything about finance, so I started building applications there and so on. I got really bored about MuleSoft at the time that I switched jobs, and I wanted to come back to do Salesforce. So in the next company, I started doing Salesforce. But then they asked me about integrations and say, "Hey, do you know how to integrate with this platform? We are trying other platforms like Workato, for example, right?" So they were trying with that,
Mhm.
and it was someone struggling a little bit with an integration with Microsoft Dynamics, and it was like we are connected, but we are not able to pull everything. So I
Mhm.
said, why don't you use MuleSoft, right? It's so easy, and it's it has a connector and everything. So I created a POC in 1 week, less than a week, and it was like I'm pulling the data that you need. So it was so easy, and then I started building some integrations that use NetSuite as well, and then they wanted to integrate with a lot of on-prem systems, financial systems. So I was getting really into that financial ecosystem at that time.
Mhm.
And I started creating a little POC. So again, there was not too much information or content at that time. So I had
Right.
to get the hits in my head and all the times. It's like, oh, I get this
Mhm.
error. What it means? I don't even know. So I had to investigate, try an error, and I had to kind of self-taught the MuleSoft part, right? In the end, they offered me to build the integration area in that company. So I actually started integrating MuleSoft with a lot of Salesforce and NetSuite and Sora and Deltex applications. What was really nice because I gained a lot of experience there. And then I continue from that on. So it's like I just decided to keep MuleSoft, and I moved to Twitter at that time, and then I moved to Cisco Meraki, and I'm doing the same. So I'm trying not to left Salesforce on the side because it's important. I feel knowing Salesforce and knowing MuleSoft is a pretty powerful combination that you can have. And
Right.
as a company, I think they can value that as well. You know what are the limits, you know what to use for integrations, and you know how to do it in MuleSoft, and also you know where to stop and what fits exactly in which side, right? Because MuleSoft is really capable, but we know there's limitations. There's stuff that we can do, and it's better just to be handled by the other platform, basically, right? Or Salesforce basically has all these features, but then why not to pull this feature exactly in MuleSoft, because it fits really well there. You don't need to actually have it in Salesforce, even though you can. It's a best practice. You have to put it in a balance, right? but yeah, I feel like the experience was there. I had to self MuleSoft pretty much at the beginning, and again, the when I was sharing my struggles at some point, I decided to do something which was how I got involved into communities, because I started writing my own stuff in my personal blog. I used to have a Google Blogspot page, and I was like, I'm gonna just write something for my own reference. I created this in NetSuite. I'm gonna just write it there because I know I'm gonna forget. I can get back, and it's the only place, right? But then I saw people that started reading my posts as well. So it's like I got into a MuleSoft Connect, and someone already knew me, and like, hey, I read this post that you created. And, okay. I met Alexandra Martinez in one of the connects,
Yes.
and she told me if I was interested on sharing more stuff in the community. And yeah, I started just participating more in the forums, trying to answer questions, write more posts, and then I reached out with Sabrina Mercal. We kind of had some talks, and then it's like, okay, now we're starting just getting more serious about the program, right? Just getting into the community, and I really like that. So it's like it felt so organic at that point. It was like just I even noticed when I knew it's like I'm in. I'm just part of the community now. I'm sharing stuff, and I think it was a couple years and a half now. They nominate me for being MuleSoft ambassador, and that was the good thing. So I feel like it's a title that keeps you have to be updated all the time. You have to share and continue sharing and empowering other people, because if you made it, someone else can make it too. So I think that is the
Right.
reason I'm still doing it.
Right.
And what I mentioned before, try not to be jealous about your work. Is if you share it, it's like it's gonna grow more and more, right? So
Yeah,
it's my
Right.
ideology pretty much. But yeah, that's my story. A little bit longer, but that's mine.
love it.
We love it. Jonathan, how about you?
Yeah, I guess unfortunately mine's probably not as interesting as Edgar's. Um, look, I mean, I've worked in recruitment as a whole in staffing for over 10 years. Um, and 5 years ago, I decided to switch companies, and I was looking. I'd never worked in tech before. You know, I'd done sales recruitment, I'd done health and safety recruitment, occupational health recruitment, and I was looking at a number of things. And I came into Third Republic and indirectly into MuleSoft at the time purely by chance, I guess. At the minute, I was looking, like I say, at a number of things, and Third Republic followed the same vertical, the same journey that Salesforce were, and the whole strategy was built on, you know, being in niche markets and community led. And so by that point, when I first came in, there was two of us in our London office doing MuleSoft, and we took ownership of you know, permanent and contract staffing across the UK for MuleSoft. But as part of that, we built out that community, and we started. There were already a couple of, yeah, and this was back, you know, back end of you know, this was 2018, so this
Okay.
was just past you know, Salesforce buyout. This was just past IPO, so MuleSoft was still evolving. You know, the ecosystem was still growing, the communities were still growing. They had user groups, or they had, you know, MuleSoft. There were meetup groups in London, nowhere else in the UK, but in London at the time. We started building an independent one because obviously we were still growing. We weren't affiliated with MuleSoft in any way, but we knew that people wanted to come in and talk about it. And for me, that was the most interesting part. Like I say, I'd already done 5-6 years in recruitment, in staffing, but I'd never worked in an ecosystem where people were so interested in getting
Right.
together. People were so interested in the knowledge sharing, in developing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
using their knowledge, you know, to develop other people's careers, to share their current career stories, their project stories. You know, I'd never been in that kind of environment. To me, you know, at that point, hiring, staffing, recruitment was an office job, was a desk job kind of thing. And MuleSoft was really the change of that from my side, and getting involved in that. And we built that. And again, you know, on that job, we started off in London. I ended up leading our, you know, our hiring practice across Europe, and then obviously, as we know, off the back of that, I'm now in New York, and I lead our hiring practice across North America. And you know, all of that developed. We had the largest meetup group in the UK by the time I left. You know, we had over 100 MuleSoft
Wow.
people join us at Deloitte in London, you know, for a meetup. I think it was over 110 that were all in the Deloitte offices to come and hear these talks. And we've brought that in off the back of Dreamforce last year. Yeah, I became, a MuleSoft mentor off the back of that from our work with that. Myself and obviously Adam, who's sadly not with us today with his time differences, have our podcast series of running with the mules, where we've had a number of people on and more people, but just to try and push into the ecosystem what people can learn from everybody that's got the experience from the other journey that people are on. And I think it's been fantastic from my side. Career-wise for me, it's taken me from London to leading a practice across Europe to living in New York, working in Manhattan. It's been quite a journey on that side over the last 5 years, but all of it's been led by that community impact. If it wasn't for that community, we wouldn't have developed what we had to start with to get to where I went to where I am now. So the power, again, like I think you said it earlier, Shivam, the power of that community is what's led it all.
Right.
And people developing that. So yeah, that's been a huge thing for me. That's how I got into it, and I think that's why, I guess from my side, why I'm so sort of passionate about it and sort of evangelize it so much, is because I've seen what it can do firsthand, and I've also seen the career journeys of so many other people within the MuleSoft ecosystem that have been led by it and developed because of that. So yeah, I've really seen what it can do and what people can achieve by being involved in it.
Definitely, Jonathan. Yes, so in our presentation at Dreamforce, we did share that MuleSoft community, gave us an opportunity of not only meeting MuleSoft talent, but also alleviate our geek solitude, which is, I guess, for a developer is very important, at least for me. I don't like just to code and behind the screen. I like to talk to people. And the MuleSoft community gave me that opportunity to do that. So that was pretty amazing.
That is nice. Yeah,
Well,
and even like just sharing jokes or something. That is nice.
Yes.
Yeah. I do have a question in regards to what Edgar, you and Jonathan just said. It's a little bit out of scope of our today's podcast series, but I think I have to ask this. So, Edgar, you've had quite a big journey yourself, and Jonathan, you've been into recruiting services and especially leading practices to recruit people who can help develop MuleSoft practices all across Europe and now in New York. How did you come across and how did you overcome the challenge of explaining to the clients or the customers why do they need MuleSoft? Why is MuleSoft so essential in today's practice that they have to at least give it a try once? How did you get them to try once?
Okay. I think that is a huge challenge, to be honest. We have a lot of resistance in terms of, let's say, even you are in your own company and the company has a product, there's still this resistance between teams, right? And again, what I was saying, like everybody is jealous about their own work, right? And Salesforce developers are gonna be jealous about the Salesforce work, and we know Salesforce can do anything, but they're gonna be like tough, saying, I want to do this in Salesforce and only in Salesforce, and we don't need any other technology aside. And is there when I think it is wrong, and is when I think it's good to have both backgrounds and both things, right? And I say, okay, makes sense, and I know people is working hard in that part, but it can be simplified and easy, right? So my argument always is, we don't need to lift all the hard work or heavy load of work in one single point of failure. We can split it, and then we need to be smart about how that split happens, right? For example, we have in what is what I like about MuleSoft, and I always explain people in this way, like we have a pattern that is API-led connectivity. Think about it as layers, right? We have system layer, we have a process layer, and so on. So imagine that we have only one single point of failure where we can just change one single piece in the whole integrations without breaking anything else, right? And most of the problems that company has at this point is having these applications in a monolithic way. So you have a same connection to the same system over and over, repeated all across many or multiple applications, right? So if some of that application change a credential, then you have to change 10, 15 applications again. instead of just one, right? And that's my argument. So there are things that definitely work in MuleSoft that needs to be handled at the system level, because that's what MuleSoft is about, right? Like enabling any system that you have or multiple systems in one single point where you can, I don't know, let's say you are filtering data, you are pulling data, it can be a proxy or whatever, right? But in the end, it's going to be just one single application that you need to work and maneuver, right? Like maybe there's other applications working aside of that, right? And the same information that you are going to consume from the systems are going to be consumed by multiple systems as well in a process layer, and Salesforce can be part of it as well, right? So we don't need to leave left all the heavy load to one single side. Something that I was saying, like, okay, MuleSoft can handle ETL work and the batch processing really well. But what happens when Salesforce already has the batch processing and handling by the same platform? So then it makes sense to let Salesforce to handle that workload, and you just have MuleSoft to monitor, because in the end, it's gonna have less peak cores and memory to use, and then Salesforce is already there doing that work, so you has to report. So in the end, what I'm saying is, it's super hard to explain people in the end how where actually makes sense to put things. But I'm always saying MuleSoft is good, and trying to say where MuleSoft is good at, and it's like exposing services, creating policies, like having the pattern of API led is just the greatest thing that they build. But there's some specific scenarios that may not fail on that, right? Any pattern is perfect, but definitely there's exceptions, and that's where we need to build a debate and just discuss things. I feel like more than actually have one single preference for a platform, we need to kind of see what is good about the others as well, right? And say, okay, we can share whenever someone is sharing that powerful thing that every platform has. It's like, okay, we are building something powerful between everything. It doesn't have to be just one, and no platform is perfect, but each one has their own thing, right? So yeah, it's just like that. And I think that argument sometimes works, sometimes maybe not, but in the end, I feel it's like a good argument.
Jonathan?
Sure. Yeah. Look, I think for me, one thing someone said to me about 3 years ago, I think it was the head of pre-sales for one of the consulting companies, said to me about 3 years ago, MuleSoft is one of the hardest things to sell from a tech point of view, because you're trying to explain to somebody, a CTO, whatever, within a business, why they need to spend so much money on something they're never going to see. It's not an off-the-shelf product. It's not something you're going to stick in front of someone that's in a box that they're going to sit there. It's something that's constantly working in the background to do it. And what is the value of spending however much money on your license to go and get this? And trying to explain that to someone is incredibly hard. And I think that I still use, whenever I speak to somebody brand new who knows nothing about MuleSoft, you guys will definitely know it, I'm sure, but I still use the waiter API video. On YouTube. One of the first ones, we're going back years here. Just you're sat in a restaurant, you want to order from the menu, the waiter comes over, the waiter is your API. He takes your order, he's going back to the kitchen, he's giving it to the chef is doing it, the waiter's bringing your food back, the waiter is your API. And it's that transference of data. And I think for me, and when I'm talking, again, when I'm talking about developers or architects to companies, and it's understanding what somebody is trying to do is why MuleSoft is so powerful.
Right.
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all product. ABC company can all achieve something different. They can all achieve their goals, but by using MuleSoft, right? Their goals are completely different. And it's then defining, because, and again, say, okay, you want a MuleSoft developer. Well, MuleSoft developer is a job title. What do you actually want somebody to do? Oh, we want somebody that can use, that's got experience across 4.x, someone that can use any point, someone that's got Cloud Hub and Data Weave. Well, that's great. That's a MuleSoft developer. What do you actually need somebody to come in and do? What are you actually trying to build here? From a company point of view, what are you trying to achieve? Is it a payments platform? Is it is it healthcare? Is it within a college? Is it a student records program? Yes, they can. I've got 5 people here. they've all got the same tech stack experience, but they've all built very different things within their experience. What are you trying to do? And that's the power of MuleSoft. It's not just understanding what it is as a technology, as a tech stack, as in what the components of MuleSoft are. It's what you can actually build with it and what you can achieve with it. You know, I think that, and I think that is sometimes the first barrier, is whoever, you know, within a business has brought in MuleSoft, whoever's controlling the platform, is actually understanding it's not just a tech stack. You know, it's not, you know, it's not the same as like microservices or Java. It's not where you can just come in and you can build whatever you want. If you know, you can code something. It's got its limitations. It's got what it's good at. But it can achieve certain things if you develop it in the right way. And I think that's the thing for me is you have to break down that barrier of people understanding that, to then be able to really evangelize and really, you know, put it to best use to achieve what they want to.
I think that really sums up, because I've come across this question multiple times, that why MuleSoft? Why are you so passionate about MuleSoft? And very often, then I care to admit, I have failed to answer that question. And today I feel like I have a very good gist of what my response should have been and should be going forward. That why MuleSoft? It's as you both said, it's not a product that you're selling. It's the pros and the cons, and as per the needs of the business and the requirements. It's not that we're selling the product or the technology. We're not so ambitious about the technology of the product, but rather what it brings with it. So I think this really helped me personally to be able to answer one of the very important questions of today's time. Shivam, you want to go ahead?
Perfect. Yeah. No, we have one last topic to cover, and that is AI. And this Dreamforce has been all about AI, right? And how do you guys think that AI can benefit us? Because a lot of people on the other side of the needle, they say that AI can be dangerous to us as well, right? I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on AI, and what do you think the journey of AI will be in future? Jonathan, if you can start.
Yeah, look, I think personally, and you know, I think that there's a huge learning curve with AI, right? You know, people need to understand it, and people are always afraid of what they don't understand. And it's not just AI, you know, across the board with anything. If you don't understand it, then people are nervous about it. They're afraid, they sort of back off a little bit. And right now, AI is the popular thing, right? That's what we're talking about. People need to understand it. And when I say understand it, I mean people need to trust it. You know, and it's that barrier to entry with trust. You know, anything new at this scale, you have to trust it. And I think the first thing, if we're talking about AI with Salesforce and MuleSoft here, the first thing that Salesforce have to do is get people to trust their AI. And after that, based off what we saw at Dreamforce and what we've spoken about and what I've heard other people talk, you know, it's going to be a huge benefit once we trust it, once we're using it. And you know, people, even if people say, yeah, I'm going to use it, they're not going to use it properly until they trust it. You know, they're not going to really back it until they've got that full confidence in it. Once they do, I can see that it's going to be a benefit. And I don't think, and again, this is one of the questions I'm asked in kind of the staffing side, is AI going to replace developers? Is AI going to replace, you know, architects, blah, blah, blah? And it's not, because first of all, you still need people that are going to build that AI into a business. And second of all, you still need that human touch on something. You know, AI knows what it knows. You know, AI isn't reactive in the same way that, you know, again, we go back to Edgar can be developing something, and Tuesday night he can go to the meetup and he can, you know, bump into Izmeet, and Izmeet's working on the same project and they talk about this, and then Edgar's like, you know, light bulb moment, that clicks, actually that works, I'm going to do that. You know, AI can't have that human interaction and go and do that and come back in and do that. I see it as being a tool another tool, another benefit to what developers, architects, tech guys are doing and building. It's an aid to that. I think once it's in place, or once people get past that boundary, there's going to be a number of new securities around it, especially within certain verticals. And if you're looking at FS&I and that kind of thing, you're looking at big banking corporations. Yes, they're going to use AI, but there's going to be a number of new securities around doing that. And to be honest, that in itself is, we've not really started talking about it much, but it's going to create new skill sets. You've already got the certifications around AI. It's going to create new skill sets, new experiences, new jobs, new roles within businesses as they adopt this. So there are, I guess, not, I wouldn't say drawbacks. There's going to be sort of some negatives or some pushback on it because it's new. There always will be. Until you kind of get that trust factor element involved and people really adopt it and they want to sort of push forward with it. But personally, from what I've seen so far, there are going to be far more, I guess, positives that come out of this, and what it can achieve for businesses, what people can achieve by using it, how developers can advance their own skill sets and experiences. I think massively outweighs anything else.
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Edgar?
Yeah, so I feel like AI is still like a little bit in diapers. Obviously, Salesforce is pushing a lot of this trust thing, right? And as I mentioned, once we trust it, we'll be comfortable just building and using it as well. I have one of the sessions that I have is related to the risk of using AI, right? So, and I feel like as far as governance on the API, I mean, not sorry, no API, so and APIs and data and models and everything, right? It's gonna be okay. But definitely, it's a good opportunity. We can say no all the time to this kind of changes, right? It's a change in the end, right? It's maybe thinking about like when the first iPhone happened, right? Like some people might like it, some people might not, but then it's a change, and as far people start adopting it and using it, the benefits are gonna just be it's gonna be there, right? Like people organically is gonna just jump straight and give more confidence on writing things. Now, I feel like AI is not just writing prompts all the time. Definitely, there's some automations that might happen in terms of AI that might help and benefit companies. So mostly, I'll say, and nice in terms of recommendations, in terms of which data is AI preparing as an output of a query, not in a prompt way. Like imagine just data that is flowing and there's some intelligence behind to give you the right recommendation. And I'm thinking about like maybe healthcare, maybe something on I don't know, transportation, something like that. There's always opportunity, right? But most of the time, again, we are gonna get there as far most people start using it, and it's gonna happen from as Jonathan said, like from the financial companies. When the companies with financial systems, with financial processes are comfortable using it, is when people is gonna say, yeah, that's it. It's working for them because they are really on the regulations and everything. We can use it in certain ways as well, and it has to be little by little. You can start with AI and predictions, small predictions, and grow them, and I feel it's gonna be like that. So the future is gonna be AI. We're gonna continue hearing about it. But again, yeah, that's true. We are, as engineers, we are not gonna be out of the picture because it's there. We have to continue building on top of it, make it better. But our work is still gonna be secure, and just secure because we are still gathering that knowledge, getting certified, getting new processes, and now is AI. Tomorrow we don't know what else is gonna be, right? But then something new is gonna come. I'm pretty sure of that.
So what are your thoughts?
Oh, you guys did hit the nail. Absolutely. That is what I believe too. AI is going to be the future. And I would say the key would be, securing your data and compliance. If you guys can put that in place and then, feed the data to the LLM model, I think that should be the way to go because a lot of companies are using OpenAI, right? Whereas the data there is not as secure as you think. So if you put the security there, which I guess Salesforce is doing with their Einstein AI, I guess that should be really helpful. And as you said, Edgar, I think AI is the future for sure. What about you, Yasmin? What do you think?
Um, I have two thoughts after everything that everybody said. The first
Right.
was about AI stealing our jobs. It's just my personal opinion that maybe it's not AI that's going to steal our jobs, but people who are very good understanding and controlling AI that are going to steal our jobs, who knows how to work with AI, because AI itself isn't complete without human interaction at this point in the times where we live today. And if I know how to give a better prompt than you, then maybe I'll do a better job, a faster job, and a more efficient job. What do you all think on that one?
I think like from what I can almost completely agree with you there, but I don't think it's about somebody necessarily coming and stealing that job. It's, look, people always talk to me, they say, hiring managers will say to me, anybody that comes in and sits in an interview, any developer that comes and sits in an interview with me and talks about MuleSoft and says they know everything, they went, I'm never going to hire that person because nobody ever knows everything. And
Yeah.
if you haven't got that developer mindset of constantly learning, and tech evolves quicker than any of us, right? As soon as you've learned everything, there's something else to learn, and we have to do that. And it would be, from my side, I would think it would be not somebody. So somebody, if you're applying for a new job, if you're going for a new job, yes, somebody may have a more experienced skill set across certain areas than you do, sure. But sure, every developer or every good developer is going to be constantly evolving themselves, their own skill set, their own career. And depending on where they're working and what they're doing, may have different experiences or knowledge with AI and how it's using and what the prompts are for specific things. But everybody now within, I guess, MuleSoft Salesforce will be looking or starting to gain that experience and looking to move their career in that direction. And depending on what industry you're in or what projects you're working on, your experiences may be different or your knowledge may be different to somebody else. And if you were, go into a new job or, a new platform, etc., then that may sit better, with another person than it does with you. But it's the same as everything else. AI is now added into that developer-led mindset of constantly learning, constantly evolving, picking up a new skill set. I think that's where it sits for me. Rather than being worried that someone else is going to know AI and you don't, it's that, well, you've got that mindset that you are also learning AI.
Yeah, I think I might have used an incorrect word, but I think you pretty much summed up my question. Any thoughts from you, Edgar or Shubham?
Oh, I echo same thing that Jonathan. I don't want to repeat the same, honestly. But definitely makes sense. Makes totally sense. We are gonna still hearing about these things. Jobs are gonna be on this path actually. So, and you can see that on other companies, right? You look into Netflix, you look into Meta, and everything is about AI positions and things like that. Wow, it's really people hiring these kind of profiles now. It's like okay, and actually you can see because there's no demand of and that specific skill set is now well paid at this point. So it's a good opportunity also for many of us to get involved and probably just jump into that path and definitely grow as well. So yeah, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question. This is more of a question than a thought about AI. So Shubham, you mentioned that Salesforce Salesforce AI is much more secure in terms that it does not, use the actual customer's data to find solutions, right? But then, how, in case of, the need to formulate a solution for a customer, how will Salesforce be able to do that if it's not really using or reading or analyzing the customer's data? Because Salesforce does, offer, I think, I might be wrong here, but I think it does offer, if asked, for customized solutions for its customers. Do you think they might have to go back to start analyzing the customer's data?
I mean, so what I think I guess I had a conversation about this with one of the product managers working at MuleSoft. I guess they said the same thing. If needed, they might have an option to, train the model based on the data that a company is providing them, but it is on consent. So consent, I guess, would play a pivotal role, whether you would like to train your model based on your train or your company data, or you would like Salesforce to do that job. So yeah, so I would say there might be an option. I think they should include one because, like, let's say if I want to train the model based on my company needs specifically, why would I ask Salesforce to train the model on their data? I would provide them my data, but of course, there should be a security layer and time to live, I guess, should be there as well. For example, let's say the data should be living only 30 days in their database, and then it should, erased automatically. But I think there might be an option in future. But for now, I think they're not doing that or not exploring that option that much. But I think they should. What do you guys think, Edgar, Jonathan?
Yeah. So I feel like again Salesforce is working a lot of in the trust layer right now, and I feel that is gonna be the first step. Even though you said you want to do it by yourself, like this data analysis on your data. I mean, this is your data in the end. You're gonna have the support of Salesforce, and I feel like because in the end, people or companies are trusting in Salesforce in their processes, the data. It's something that is
Exactly.
already there, right? So it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And they might have this option to you handle the process as you want with certain conditions, but definitely because there's this layer of trust that is going to be implemented at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to be just a tool. It's going to be a tool in addition of what you already have that is going to help you with the business process that you have as well, with the output that you want to see, basically, right? Depending on your business. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's not restrictive, I'll say. It's more a tool that is going to help companies to massage the data they already have, and because data is messy as well, right? It depends on the volume,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be as messy as you want. But then this is where the help comes in this part of Salesforce, right? Say, okay, I'm gonna help you to kind of clean up whatever you have, and then just go from there. So yeah, it has to be with the trust, but it's already there. So I think that's what is gonna work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure, like, I agree with both. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think it's I think all of this, like I say, is a work in progress, is a learning curve. I think we're going to see it all develop massively over the next months and year or whatever. But yeah, no, I echo everything else you guys have said there completely.
Cool. Perfect. I guess enough of the technology talk. We would really like to know you guys a bit now. So, Jonathan, if you can let us know what do you like, doing in your free time, like, other than talking about MuleSoft and helping
Sure.
people.
Outside of MuleSoft, yeah. I mean, there's not too many hours in the day for that. Especially I guess living in New York.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I moved over to New York in January of this year, so I've been here just over 10 months, and I mean, for me, like, I'm still getting to grips with New York City life. Also, I'm living just outside, luckily, in Brooklyn, so I get a little bit of a break from it. But that I've been shocked since coming over here. New York isn't the Manhattan that you necessarily see on the TV, or in shows and that, and how many beaches there are, how many golf
Mm-hmm.
courses there are, how many hiking trails there are,
Right.
all of that side has been quite mind-blowing to me, and not anything I ever imagined. Outside of the island of Manhattan, there's so many other things to do. So I've been and still am, exploring all of that. Um, Everything that it has to offer. A lot of the, I guess, the US sports. I'm a Tottenham fan with football back at
Oh,
home,
really?
but we've got out here. You've got sports on every night of the week, whether it's basketball, hockey, American football, baseball, all of that. I've been to the Yankees a couple of times, so no, like, I'm still getting to grips with it all. It's been an experience so far for me over here, and so many things that I didn't envisage being, part of New York life when I first moved over.
Oh, cool. That's cool. I have a question for you, Jonathan. You need to select one: fish and chips or New York pizza slice.
Oh, that's oh. I guess at the minute I have to go pizza slice, right?
Oh, really?
So I went back. Last time I went back to the UK was for my birthday in June, and the
Okay.
first day that I arrived back at home, I went and got fish and chips. So it's a hard one. They don't really do it in America. Some restaurants will do it,
Right.
but you don't want fish and chips
Yeah.
from a restaurant. You want fish and chips
Yes.
from a little, like the same as you'll get a pizza slice, right? A little high
Yeah.
street place at the side of the road to go
Right.
and get that. I guess being in New York now, I have to go pizza slice.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Cool. That's nice.
Fair enough.
Edgar,
You know,
how
Shivam,
about
there is
you?
the person amongst us who plays piano very well.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Who
he,
is
he
that,
he
I
likes to
wonder?
he likes to post it online. You know,
Uh,
Oh,
Edgar,
I
is
yeah,
know.
that
Yeah, yeah,
you?
yeah.
yeah.
I know what you say. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, out of work, honestly, I spend a lot of time doing stuff. As you know, my work goes, it's 9 to 5, but always is more than that.
Right.
And definitely after that is just thinking about what else I can do for the community. So I spend most of the time in front of the computer, but when I'm not there, I'm really passionate about photography, right? I like photography a lot. I'm not professional or something else, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting good feedback about my pictures, so I like
Oh, nice.
to keep it up with that. And sometimes, yeah, just grabbing I have a guitar, I have the piano, and sometimes just trying stuff I'm not really good playing, honestly, but it's just practicing, right? It's like everything,
Nice.
and I like music, and I like drawing too. So I like to do a lot of charcoal drawing. So I do some
Wow.
small portraits and so on. Some of them I posted them in my Instagram account. But yeah, it's just something that this is stress me, honestly. It's more like this is stressing stuff. I like to go out with the kids. And it's just whenever I have and do some time. I'm really bad organizing my time. That's another several thing about me. But when I kind of set up my time, I set aside some a few hours for the kids, and just go out and play with them and so on. But mostly that. So those are hobbies, and I like them. So I'll say the main one is probably photography. I like that the most.
Nice. Nice. Well, we would love to see your paintings, Edgar. Do post them in our MuleSoft community channel.
Yeah, I will at some point. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like always Sabrina. Yeah, I have them. I don't in Twitter. Sometimes in Twitter I have some of those pictures. So
Okay.
you search me in Twitter, you'll see them there too.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe Edgar should start giving away his photographs and his paintings in the meetup when people answer quiz.
That's a good one,
That would be
actually.
a great
Yeah.
incentive.
The new swag, right? The new swag is one of
Yeah.
Edgar's photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Like an autograph from the ambassador autograph. Come
hmm
on.
Funny. That's cool. Well, this brings us to the end. I don't have any questions to ask anymore. Ismi, if you have anything.
No, all I have is thanks to both of our guests, wonderful guests, for giving us their time today. It's been an honor to have both of you here and have this great detailed discussion about so many things. I mean, I think we lost track of a lot of things.
No, definitely.
Absolutely.
No,
Guys,
No,
if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
no questions
no,
from my
nothing.
side. Just sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
No,
Yeah.
Edgar, I was saying essentially nothing from us. I just really appreciate you guys having me on, having us on, and obviously, yeah, it was awesome to meet you both. Obviously at Dreamforce, so really happy to do this with you.
No, same thing. Thank you so much for inviting us here. It was really fun, and really, it's always nice to share things like this. And yeah, same thing. It was really nice to meet you guys back in Dreamforce. I think, yeah, we was gonna still in the same path, sharing stuff, just bringing the community, and just sharing this kind of content. So I really like that, and really appreciate you guys for that.
Definitely. Hope to see you guys at the TDX maybe in March. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe we
That
can
would
have
be
another
nice.
heated discussion about, all things AI or anything MuleSoft soon rather than later.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Look forward to it.
Well, thank you so much, guys.